Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vicente Lochmit, and I am the team lead for the AccuColor series here in BenQ Europe. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar with Jovana about outdoor photography backdrops. We are so excited to get underway with all of you, and we're really excited by the reception already to see so many of you here with us. And I know Jovana is also raring to go. Before we begin, I wanted to address a few small points. The first of which being is that today's webinar will be coming with a small gift for all of you, and that is namely a 15% discount code, which will be offered to all of the attendees of today's webinar. Now, for those of you who don't know, BenQ has a line of monitors built for photographers and a line of monitors built for designers. These monitors are built from the ground up to cater to all the needs that a designer photographer would need. One of the most important ones being for color accuracy. This is one of the most important aspects. You can see here on our website, we have lines that go from the 25 inch to 27, 28, 31 to 32, all the way to 34. Independent of where you are in your current journey as a designer or photographer, whether you're just starting out as a hobby photographer or a designer, or you're someone who works like Jovana, completely professionally in this area, there really is a monitor built for you. The BenQ monitors are built from the ground up to really be really built in mind for design and photography work. And the great news is that all of you until the 31st of March will be receiving a 15% discount code for the BenQ monitors, and we'll be sharing that with you very, very soon. With all that being said, I also wanted to briefly speak about Jovana herself. Jovana is a BenQ ambassador and has just an incredible amount of work. If you are not following her yet, I really recommend that you check out her link on the right side where you can see you can visit Jovana's Instagram. Jovana has an incredible amount of work, an incredible portfolio, having worked with dozens of clients, and I think at this point, maybe even 100 models so far, having given multiple international talking arrangements and speaking arrangements, workshops as well. It's incredible how prolific Jovana is with her work, how proactive she is. If you've ever had the chance to meet her personally, you know how incredible and much of a perfectionist she is, and how much passion she really puts into her work. And it's really remarkable to find someone who has so much in their portfolio, has worked so much, and yet seems to always have more projects to do, more energy and more passion for everything that she does. So with that being said, without much more for myself, I'd like to pass it now on to Jovana. And Jovana, you can take the stage.
Hello, Vicente, and hello, guys. Thank you so much for such nice words. I'm so thrilled, and I love working with BenQ. I love holding webinars because it is always interesting, and it is always so fun to share the knowledge with you. I want to say, before we start, thank you so much for coming to this webinar, for signing in, because today we will talk about outdoor photography locations. About presentation, let me see. I can see the presentation here. Today we will talk about outdoor photography backdrops and why they are so important. As you know, if you're a nature photographer, if you love taking photos outside with natural light, it is so important to know what photography backdrops and how to choose them, because some of them are bright, some of them are dark, some of them telling a story, some of them not. You can play with the colors, you can play with the scene. And today we will talk about that on this webinar. So we will talk about outdoor photography, what makes a good photography backdrop, connecting the colors with the scene, examples, and question and answer. So if you have any questions now or during the webinar, you can ask a question here, and at the end of this webinar, I will answer all of your questions. Make sure to have lots of questions because this topic is so interesting, and I'm so happy to answer all of your questions. Before we start, I would like to ask you one poll. So how do you take your photos? At what level you are with your photography? So if you're a professional, I'm very interesting to hear. It's just a hobby, passion, you're just starting or haven't started, but you want to. Because photography is always so interesting. I remember when I was starting with photography, I love seeing the photos everywhere, and I was imagining myself being a photographer, and I'm so happy I start. I'm so happy to hear, to see the results. Okay. Oh, lots of, it's still a hobby, professional. You have a few more seconds just to answer. Okay, let me see. It's a hobby, passion, lots of you, then professional. Okay, then I'm just starting. So this will be a good topic for you, because if you're just a hobby photographer and want to do it professionally, for you it is very important to choose a really good backdrop, especially if you're taking photos outside. Outdoor photography. Let's start with outdoor photography. So what makes outdoor photography special? As you know, we in nature have so many elements. We have flowers, we have grass, we have forests, we have so many different locations, and which one we'll choose tell a lot about our style. So if we are pastel photographers, so if we will love to use pastel colors, we will think about maybe some brighter locations and brighter backdrops, like the flowers, like the sky. Everywhere where you have pastel tones, you will use these colors. If you love dark, moody spaces, if you love like scary thoughts, emotions, then you will choose a different backdrops. Like if you want maybe a dark forest, maybe you will take photos at the evening, during the night, when everything looks so spooky. So having a good backdrop and taking photos outside, it is so important. You don't need to have a really good camera. You just have to think in advance. So if you want to create a really good backdrop, then you have to think what I want to say, where I want to show this idea, and with who. So the subject is also important. And I love taking photos outside because it is so challenging. You never know how the weather will look like. At once, the weather will look nice, but a few seconds later, maybe it will rain or snow, or maybe it will be too sunny. So sometimes you just have to think, yeah, what should I do now if I already have an idea and I came to this location? I won't say, yeah, I'm finishing the story. I don't want to take photos because it is raining. Then you have to maybe think on plan B, and what do you want to achieve at this moment. This is why it is so important. Plenty of choices. So as I already say, when you're choosing a good photography backdrop, it is not the whole location. So you have plenty of choices. You need only one beautiful corner just to take a good backdrop. How do you want to tell a story? So if you are taking depending on if you're taking photos inside, you don't have so many choices. You have different colors, you have the different textures. It is also interesting taking photos inside, but outside you have plenty of spaces. And maybe I think that is why lots of people love taking more photos inside than outside, because you have to think about lots of details. You have to think about all these elements, and sometimes in the head you don't know what to think because you have so many choices and you don't know which one to start with. So if you are not sure which choice to start, make sure to choose only one and start with that one. Start with only one backdrop on only one color. If you're not sure if you want to start maybe to take photos in the forest or behind the flowers, make sure to maybe choose one beautiful background, like the color, maybe one beautiful wall, maybe the black wall, white wall, a blue wall. Make sure to choose one color. After you take photos in front of that blue wall, you will say, yeah, this wall reminds me of the sky, and maybe next time I can create some concept against the sky, and this will be a very beautiful backdrop. But later on, I will show you one video, and I will show you a few photos how to use the sky and how to make it interesting backdrop. Outdoor story. It is not important to only take photos outside, like call the model, come to the location, and yet create lots of photos. No, you just have to have outside story. And what that means that you have some powerful concept. You are not only bringing the model to the location and they are only standing and you are taking photos. No, you are taking how do you want to present the story? How do you want to achieve the model to express the emotion? How do you want, with which movement you want? So this will stand out you from the crowd. If you're taking only the same photos and if you're only telling the same story, model standing and doing nothing with the hands, with the poses, then it will be only one photo, beautiful photo, and that's it. Because now you have so many photographers, you have so many stories, you have so many photography websites where you can upload your works, and all you can see lots of photos are going in the base. So if you have a powerful concept and if you have a good backdrop, then this will stand out from the crowd, and this is how people notice your work and the clients also. This is so important, and this is why we are talking today about this. Nature elements. I love taking photos outside. I love to use nature elements because you can say a lot of stuff only using these simple elements in nature, like flowers, like leaves, like grass, like a tree. So you can you don't have to pay anything just to create concept and create photos here. To me, yeah, January and February is the worst months because during these months nature is dead and you can't create anything, and my motivation is almost dead. And during this time I love to prepare concepts for the spring. I love to awake my imagination. I love to refresh my mind just for new ideas, and I think this is such a nice time just to think about some new ideas, new stuff, how you want to change your path a little bit, how do you want to change your work, to think about maybe you want to change some colors, maybe you want to change the way you are taking photos. So make sure to think about this direction. If you feel unmotivated, if you think you don't have enough ideas, make sure just to sit down and think and write down your ideas, because this is also important. It is not so important just to grab the camera and go outside. It is so important to think about ideas, to just write down your thoughts, to have this hidden process. This is so much important than only taking the photos. Plan in advance. If you're taking photos outside, then you just have to plan in advance, because you have to look at the forecast, you have to think about the weather. If you want a good concept, maybe on some location that is that looks like that during the season, then I think you just have to plan in advance. Last year, I had some big prop I create to take photos because on that location, you have really dry location during exact time during September. And last year, it didn't happen. And I prepared the prop, I bring the model and everything. And the location and the backdrop didn't look the same and like I wanted in the photo. And then I said myself, I don't want to take photos like this. I want to look perfectionist. I love to look perfect. So this is why I wait to this year. Yeah, it is a lot of time. I just cannot wait 1 year just to create a project, but sometimes you can, because in that case, the concept will look mind-blowing if you wait. So don't grab yourself and go to the location just to take photos. Just you have to wait for exact time to happen. The right backdrop's only half of the job. As I said, if you find a beautiful tree with lots of flowers, you are not using only that backdrop and you're placing the model. You just have to think of combination. So if you bring the model to the pink tree, make sure how do you want to pink be more pink, and how do you want to make that pink story. Maybe you will choose the pink dress, maybe you will choose some pink detail, maybe you will use a pink detail, maybe this will remember some emotion of happiness or sadness, and then you will bring to his face of the model. So you just have to think about the story once you see the backdrop, once you see the detail, once you see the elements on location. Choosing a good backdrop, it is so important. Like you see on the photo, Here we have beautiful flowers, red flowers, and this location goes very well with the white. So it is a contrast combination, and this is why I chose the white dress, because this model will pop out in the photo. I didn't use the red one because everything will be the same, like the same color of the flower and the same dress. But this will also tell a good story depending what you want to achieve. I wanted a contrast, but if you're using the red dress, this will also tell a story that she's like a flower, she's like a poppy field. So this is also a good concept, and there is no bad concept. It is always just what do you want to say with it. Colors of the backdrop. On the second photo, we see a beautiful icy location and the model in a blue dress. Here, I wanted to connect her with an icy location because I wanted to say a story where she's frozen. This is why I didn't want to achieve the contrast. I didn't want her to pop out so much, but I wanted to make her to look like the ice, to feel the frozenness, to feel the winter. And this backdrop is mind-blowing. It is located in Slovenia, and most of the people from Slovenia didn't know about this location, and I was so happy to find it. And sometimes you just have, it was taking a month just to find this location, and I'm so glad I did, because it looks magical in the photos. It is such a nice backdrop because it looks so powerful. It is a fake ice, so sometimes you just don't have to travel to the Iceland or some frozen locations just to create a good photo. Sometimes you just have to maybe search, do a little deeper, and then to find locations like this, or to make your own location. I will also talk about creating your own backdrop and how it looks like. Backdrop locations. As I said, for some of them, you just have to travel, but some of them are really outside of your home. When sometimes you just have to find a location when you're going maybe to the job, or when you are walking by, when you're walking your dog, when you're going to the breakfast. Make sure to wake your imagination by seeing the things and seeing how you want to achieve this. So sometimes it is also good to travel to some locations. It is this is near you. Nature backdrops. As I said, nature backdrops are natural. You don't have to pay anything. You have plenty of choices, and this is so good because each month you have different flower fields. Sometimes you have sunflowers. Sometimes you have cherry blossoms. Sometimes you have different colors, lavender fields. So you can play with lots of different things at once. Travel backdrops. For you who loves to travel, this topic will be for you, because when you're traveling, you have plenty of choices. Our nature is so beautiful, and every location has something to offer. And sometimes you have the most beautiful backdrops near you, near the city where you're living. If you're going to the village near your city, then you will find some locations. I remember when I was traveling across from one city to another, I spot some beautiful abandoned castle, and I stop myself and go there and see, wow, this will look very good in the photos. And sometimes you just have to think that you have a really nice locations in your city also, and you don't have to travel maybe to USA or some very far away countries to take a beautiful backdrop. Everything is near you, but how you will use it, it is so important, and how you will awake your imagination. As you know, I'm not a technical person. I love creating works based on emotions. I love connecting colors. I love to think about, how do I say, I love to create some stuff on nature, and love using nature elements. And I think our imagination is everything, and how we see things, how we want to say something, how our imagination is working can tell a lot of more than just knowing the technical stuff. So think about this also. Before we go to the next slide, I want to ask you one more poll. What is important to you when taking photos outside? So do you pay attention to the backdrop? Do you pay attention to the details, colors, Oh my God, so many people choose colors. Okay, let me see. Yeah, backdrops is also important. Woo! All people, all at once answering the same. Okay, let me see more. I'm very interesting about this one because this is very important. Okay, what is the most important to you? Let me see. Lots of you answered backdrop. Yay, because this topic is about the backdrop, then the details and the colors. But I think everything is important. But having a good backdrops tells a lot because it is covering the whole story, you know. So this is why, sorry, it is why important to have a really nice backdrop. Nice. Let me see backdrop choices. We spoke about nature elements. So first we have nature elements like the flowers, the tree, the weather, and the seasons. Um, which element you will choose will have to represent your style. So if you're a natural photographer, if you love creating photos in a magical way, if you love using the dresses in your photos, then you will maybe the best backdrop will be the flowers, because if you're taking photos in urban area, if you're creating photos in cinema or some places like this, then the people will think, what is this? We remember uh, her style, like the flowers and magical, and then again she's taking photos in the cinema, and it is not like the work. The clients will probably think, yeah, we wanted to appointment her for the one project, and then she's is this the same photographer? So make sure to slowly change the style. If you are starting out, make sure to think, make sure to try lots of styles. But if you think that you are for only one style, then you will change it. Like then you have the tree, the weather, and the seasons. Like I said, the seasons is so important because during the season you have choices of different backdrops. During the spring, you have flowers. During the summer, you can take photos in ocean, the sea, the sand, the sky. Everything looks so pastely blue and seasonable. Then during the fall, you have leaves, you have yellow colors, orange colors, and during the winter, you have snow, you have white, you have frozen. So you have plenty of choices, and you have so many ideas which you can create. Then during the tree, if you want to create some moody emotions, then you will choose the forest and maybe some dry flowers, maybe some abundant locations. If you are creating projects based on the emotions, then you will choose places like this. If you want to create some happiness, then you will choose the brighter ones. Then you have locations like castles, mountains, ocean, houses. Houses, I said, because now it is so famous to have like houses, like cabin houses and the vintage houses, which you can create your own backdrop and where you can place the model and create a whole different scene than the house. And I think this is so good because back then when I was starting with photography, I didn't have these choices, and we didn't have internet that much. So now you have plenty of choices like these ones. The castles, I'm so jealous of you who are living in Germany, in England, because you have so many beautiful castles where I want to live and where I want to take lots of photos. And the castles looks very nice in every photo. And if you only bring the model to the location in a beautiful dress and then make the movement connecting the model with the castle, then you will have really I have a castle near my house and I never bring the model there. Why? Because the castle looks amazing, and if you're taking photos outside of these locations, make sure to take photos early in the morning or at the evening, because during the day there are so many tourists and there are so many people, and you will see the castle always looks so good in the photos, and it is such a nice backdrop. Making your own backdrop. Later I will share the video where you can create your own backdrop, where you don't have to choose maybe a good color, maybe a good location. You can bring all the materials, all the elements, all the details you have already in your home or in your studio, or in your wardrobe, and you can create your own location and your own backdrop. And this is also always so interesting, and it is always so challenging, because in this way you can awake your imagination and you can just think in a different way. And this is always a good thing, because this is how you practice your own imagination, and this is how you're making nicer and nicer projects. Then patterns and textures. Sometimes you just don't need to create photos in front of the forest, maybe in front of the flowers, maybe in front of the castle. Maybe you want just to play with the colors and having a good backdrop this way. So here on the photo, you see how I play with the patterns and the colors. I choose the blonde girl and the girl with the blue hair, and then I connected her because I spotted this beautiful backdrop, and it was very beautiful wall, a big wall. And once I see it, I said, yeah, I want to connect these two colors with the models, and this is how I create, and this is how I awake my imagination and use the backdrop in this way. You can maybe among this location use a blonde model, but she's holding a blue balloon. This is also very interesting idea. I want to show you now how it looks like taking photos outside of the castle. I can see the videos. Let me see. Yeah. Here, as you can see, we have so many people in front of the castle, and not the tourists, but the photographers. So this is now the problem, like to having, when you wake up in the morning to create the photos, then you don't have a people who is only walking by, you have photographers. Here I am dressing the model in a dress, and it takes time just to do all the things with the dress. And here, when I was placing the model on this location, everybody was thinking when I shared the photo that she's levitating, and that I put her in the Photoshop and then created the scene, but not. I tell her to stand there, and then I think it was a really good backdrop to have a grass and the castle in the behind, because you see that around her it is a nature and not only a castle. You have a story if you look wider. And I love taking photos when I have a really long dress. It always looks nice to have a long dress just to see the down part. And here you have to wait just for people to walk by, just to model to stand, to make a pose. So it is always challenging taking photos outside, because you're not only taking a photos, you are waiting for somebody to pass out, you're waiting for somebody to create photos too, not only yourself. And it takes more time just to plan everything out. So make sure to include these also when you are thinking to bring model in front of the castle and the famous attractions like this one. I'm so happy because you see all of the people here that is having the same idea, that is having the same, you are in the same job, and it is always interesting to see how somebody else will use this backdrop in a different way, and not only in a magical way. Somebody will create something different, somebody will take a video, somebody will use the different colors, and this is also a really nice thing to spot how you can play with the scene and how you can play with the backdrop. Here I bring the two models and I change also the colors, but I was thinking that blue will go very well because it is also some vintage color for me. Here we change the locations because around the castle you have so many beautiful locations, and it is also very interesting to bring the model, if you have a really good backdrop, to not only place the model in front of the castle, make sure to go around the castle, make sure to see some other locations, and how do you want to change the perspective, and how do you want to tell a story. Sometimes you will have a maybe beautiful tree around the castle, sometimes you will have maybe a big rock where you can place the model. So one backdrop is multiple backdrops, it's not only the one. Then the next one, nature elements. So flowers for a dreamy effect and awakening imagination. So as I said, Awakening imagination with only using one flower, it is so challenging. You will think probably that this is very hard and this is not you can achieve this, but yes, you can. You can, if you don't know how to use the elements in the right way, make sure to only start with the one color. Make sure to choose maybe a yellow flower and maybe blonde hair model, and then in the next scene you will say, yeah, I will bring one more yellow balloon where she's holding it. In the next scene you will say, yeah, I will bring the whole bathtub to the scene. I will put the flowers in the bathtub and the yellow tree behind, and this is how I will tell a story. So once you're using one element, it will awake another elements the next time. Pick the right time for each backdrop. For some of these backdrops, like the winter, during the spring, during the summer, during the winter, you will have to wait the season just to awake, and then you will go to the location. Because sometimes if you go during the summer to this frozen location, it won't look like this. You will not have this location. So if the winter is coming and you know what winter has to offer, what type of the backdrops, then you will have to wait winter. If you know what type of locations and what type of the backdrops the summer has to offer, then you will wait for the summer and for the ocean and maybe for the warmer days. You won't bring the model during the winter in the ocean just to have a beautiful concept, but you will wait for the summer, because in that case the photos will look nicer and it is warmer. The model will look more relaxing. It for him will be more comfortable to take photos during this time, and you will have the better concept and the better results at the end. So use backdrops differently. This means that if you have a whole location with full of flowers, and you don't bring the model just to stand among the flowers and the trees and then run through the flowers, then trailing the dress around, then you will maybe bring the animal to the location like on the photo, and then use the location and backdrop in this way. You will create something unpredictable in a predictable location. Maybe you will choose, maybe you will in the sand, you won't set the model on the sand and then maybe it has a towel and then model look in the ocean. No, you will maybe use a bathtub on the location. So it is only the right combination of the elements on that location. So make sure to use some elements which is not like you not see every day on the everyday location, if you know what I mean. And use your imagination. For these particular projects, I didn't have to invest any budget here because I already have the nature elements, and this is how I use it in this way. And this is how I create my own backdrop, where I place the flower, where I place the leaves around the model, and where the leaves connected with the yellow dress. And this is how we have a really nice fall backdrop around the model. And this is how you can also if you are taking photos inside, you can also bring the leaves inside the location and then make the same setup, because it is everything is about imagination. Castle and houses. So use special effect in your backdrop. I don't know if you used a smoke bomb effect before, but this is also nice combination of the beautiful backdrop and the effect, because in this case you will bring the smoke, you will imitate the fog here, and you will have a really fog effect around the backdrop, and it will look more magical like on the photo you see. If I didn't use this smoke effect, then it won't look the same with and without the smoke. It gives a more powerful look, it gives the more dreamy effect, and it is always so nice to use the smoke bomb, because in this case, and in every country you can get it, but at some locations you can use it without permission. So make sure to use it in some locations like in front of your house, maybe some open locations, but not in the city center or the famous locations, because some of the people, it won't look comfortable for them. And then think about the lighting and the decoration. If you're creating concept, if you don't want to travel outside the city, if you want to create photos in the city, make sure to choose backdrops which looks, maybe they're too far away like this. We have a fortress, it is a famous attraction here, but if you put it far away, if you're taking photos during the night, it won't be recognizable in that way, and during this day, we have a lanterns going up around the sky, and this is how I achieve this look, where I duplicate the lanterns later in Photoshop and make the magical scene out of this urban area. And if you are in the city, make sure to take photos when you don't have enough people, when it is getting evening, when these not good looking locations looking good, and make sure to use some details which will make your eye on these details and not on the location, as you see what I mean. And avoid urban areas. Sometimes if you're this is a restaurant here on this photo, and you won't tell this is a restaurant because I use this backdrop and this location in this way. I bring the horse here, I bring the model in a dress, I use the smoke effect. So every attention is on these three details and not only on location and this is a restaurant. I changed the backdrop look by only using these three elements. And this is also how you can do it. And this is also how you can play with the scene and play with the backdrop. Make your own backdrop. Here, I spoke about connect patterns and scenes. So this is a store shop where you can buy vases, glasses, and this stuff. And I said to the owner, let's move the glasses out of this corner. I want to bring the model here. I want to put leaves here, and I want to create a scene here because this backdrop and this wall reminds me of old looks, on the vintage looks. And this wall you can find in every old stores or old houses, and you can bring your own elements, like I said, on location where you can placing there, and it looks nice in every way. And every one of you has a wall or has some hidden corner where you can place the model for only this scene. This is only one corner. This is not a whole store because the whole store it was a little has a different look. So and here I used the leaf, and it is such a nice effect because this combination of this wall and the color of the leaves is such a good color combination. I will play the video after this presentation where I show how to make your own backdrop. Then play with the wardrobe and the colors. If you put the whole attention on one color, and if you bring the model that looks like the same with the element you are using, I use the birds here, you won't even notice the backdrop sometimes because the backdrop has a different look. And this is how you are changing the backdrop look, where you want to tell a story that this is happening outside and not at the inside. So I place the smoke, the snow effect, and change the backdrop look, and it looks even more nicer with this snow effect. So sometimes if you're taking photos inside and want to bring outside effect on the inside, make sure to maybe add snow, maybe make sure to use some backgrounds which are not too dark, because if you're placing some other elements and not snow during the black background, it won't look so effective. So if you are, snow is always looking effective among the black or gray backdrop like this one. But if you're using a white backdrop, then the snow effect won't be visible. So make sure in that case to use some maybe dark foliage or something like that, just to have the contrast between. Also change the backdrop look. This was the really old house, and it was at my friend's house, and I wanted to change the backdrop look where I wanted to place the leaves among the house. And this is also how you can, one of the way how you can play with the backdrop look. And you don't have to use the leaves, you can use the flowers, you can use maybe some other color, maybe you can use smoke, maybe you can use different smoke effects. So make sure just to think how you can place the details on location. Now I want to show you a very beautiful scene with a bed outside where we are creating the whole backdrop because this house didn't have the bed outside, and we bring the whole bed from the inside on the location, and we have only greens here, and we wanted to put the flowers and the roses just to have this sleeping beauty moment. This is also how you can play with the backdrop, where you can placing the flowers, if you have the greens, if you have where to place them. And if you have some inside elements like the bed or the bathtub or the carpet, you can bring outside. And don't say it won't look nice. It will look nice, because everything looks nice, like inside elements, when you put outside. Always looks nice. So here the model comes, and I wanted to use this dress because it goes very well with the backdrop, and you have the pastel tones, you have the pink tones. Make sure to use the same color. If I use the black dress, it wouldn't look the same, and it won't have the same effect, because the pastel tones goes very well with this backdrop combination. You see, you have you want to tell Sleeping Beauty story. You have roses and you have a pastel dress, and this is a good combination. And we waited for the dark, for the evening to arrive, and I wanted to change again the backdrop, where I added the light and the dress. And this green dress really pop out of this location. If I use the same pink dress, it won't look the same, and it will won't having the same effect. So this is how you can play with the colors. And this green dress goes very well with the lights and with the green behind the model. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk, when we are talking about the elements, I want to talk about the patterns and why they're so important. So the vibrant colors, when you're choosing one color backdrop, make sure to think about the texture. And do you want the circles behind the model? Do you want the lines? How do you want the texture to look like? Not only one wall, but you have, the garage look. You have these lines, and you have different colors, and you have different texture. This is one magazine. And I driving by a car, and I spotted this one, and I was amazed by the colors, and I said I want to create photos here. It was so simple for me because I love natural elements, but it was interesting because of the colors. So make sure, if you spot some vibrant backdrop, to use it in a way, because you will, again, the person's eye first see pop out details. They see a beautiful colors. They see your imagination is working, where you're seeing the vibrant colors, the tones, and when you are screaming, there's so many colors here. So reflection again, if this location is so simple to you and you don't know how to use it, you see beautiful wall but you don't know how to use it, make sure to bring some reflections, like mirror here, and place the model, because it will give more interesting look for the people to see. They'll say, oh my god, where is the model? Is it in the mirror, or what is happening here? And they will look at the model and the combination of the model and patterns here, and it will attract the viewer eye. If you only place the model here without this mirror, it will be okay, it will look nice. But if you use the mirror and not the model, she's in a reflected game, then it will be more interesting in this way. Two color game. Combination of two colors is so interesting when you're having only one color backdrop. So if you're having a yellow backdrop, make sure to use complementary color, or maybe you can play with only two colors, and it is such a nice combination to always have in this way. Inside colors, outside. So if you are not sure which colors to use on location and how to find that beautiful wall, make sure if you are having inside your house some beautiful material, maybe some vibrant colors, maybe you have a blue carpet, make sure to bring that carpet and put it as a backdrop and place the model. If you can find that wall, if you can find the location like the forest, what do you want to achieve? Make sure to maybe go to the store and buy a very long material, or maybe few materials. It is very affordable, which you can place behind the model, and when you're creating your own scene and where you can play with it. So it is so interesting in this way, and it is so challenging. Before we go to the next slide, I want to ask you, Paul, so what type of backdrops you like to shoot? I'm so interesting to hear what type of backdrops you like to shoot. Dark and moody, bright and positive, colorful and vibrant. So if you're moody, when I was starting with photography, I was going into the moody and darkness, and I was so dark back then. But now I'm so pastel, and this is how slowly you're changing your style. But I think it is okay to not only take photos the same, because you're not the same. You're growing as a person, as a photographer, as a viewer. So I'm very interesting to see. Bright and positive. Okay, colorful and vibrant. Oh my God, it is very. We have everything is close up. Every answer here. Let me see your answers. So lots of you said colorful and vibrant. I love, because this yellow wall is for you. Then bright and positive, and dark and moody. Oh, you're not dark and moody, lots of you, but I love that you are bright and positive and that you love cheerful colors. Because it is always looks nice in the photos, but this also can change after the time. Okay, so now before we start, I would like to say that equipment is very important, and having a good, it's not important to create photos by using the camera, but it is important to use it in creative way. Like to capture a good photo, you need creative tools, because some of the details won't be visible with the phone, and sometimes the f-stop look much nicer than if you're taking photos with a mobile phone. So if you're starting with photography, you can create photos with a mobile phone or maybe some beginner camera. But if you want to be a professional, if you want to create some photos in a different level, and if you want to really use in a creative way, then you will a good equipment will tell a lot. And it is not only a camera; it is everything. It is a photography monitor, it is a camera, it is all additional equipment. So it's not only one tool. Camera. So having a good camera is great, but you can practice storytelling even with a smartphone or camera on a budget when you're starting. As I said, you can create lots of photos by using a mobile phone, but if you need if you want to show some details, if you want to show some vibrant colors, then you need a camera just to capture the storytelling. Then lenses, wide angle or not lenses are much more important than the camera. Prime lenses is a must. So as I said, when I was starting, I was thinking only to have a really good camera, and I didn't think about the lenses at all, because I was thinking having a good camera, yeah, it is great, it will done the job and everything. But once I started playing with the lenses, and I saw a really difference, because having if you're taking photos with if you are creating portraits, then you need a really good lenses for portraits. If you're creating a wide angle shots, then you need a really good lenses for wide angle. If you if you create photos inside of the restaurants and you don't have enough space, then you will have a really good lens for this. So lenses are much important than the camera, and not to have only I think the prime lenses are must. Then additional equipment such as lighting, reflectors, and backdrops. I'm not thinking about the nature backdrops, but the backdrops you're using inside on location, to have plenty of choices, like the colors, like the textures. Some of the backdrops are imitating the sky or some flower fields or something. You have so many choices on sites where you can find these backdrops. If you want to use a good backdrop, then you need a good lighting and a good reflector, just to light up the idea, just to show what do you want to tell with the story. Then editing software such as Adobe Photoshop, Lightroom, Premiere Pro for videos, tablet for editing. This is also so important to have, because it is so easy for you to edit your photos and to edit the skin by using a tablet, not only a mouse. So I think all these equipment is so important, and this is why I want to ask you about how do you edit your photos with. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts, and I'm so interested to hear how. With what? Professional monitor, regular monitor, laptop? So let's see the answers. It is so important to have a really good photography monitor. I think it's on the first place. Ooh, lots of you having a laptop. Let's see. You can still vote. I think for me, photography monitor is much more important than the camera. I will tell you why. But let me see your answers. So lots of you laptop, then regular monitor, professional monitor. Oh, okay. I know it's easy for you to carry the laptop wherever you want to edit your photos, but I think if you want to go on a different level, if you want to start seeing details, if you want to have a beautiful colors, if you want to see details, then you need a really good photography monitor. I want to mention that you have 50% discount on PD and photography series with the BenQ. The code is valid until the end of this month, so make sure to use this code. And the next thing is with the photography monitor. So I want to tell you one story. When I was starting with photography, I didn't have a good monitor. I switched a couple different monitors and I didn't have a really good one. I didn't know how it looks like to have a really good monitor. Back then, we didn't have so many choices. So we have this, these big white monitors. And for me, it was hard for me to edit the photos. And when I was starting to edit with the BenQ monitors, it is like I go into another universe or something like that, because it is already 5 years since I'm using this monitor from them, and this is the second one, SWV321C, and it is 4K monitor, 32 inches. All I can say, it has such a big display. I see all the colors, I see all the details when I edit the photos. To me, it was very important to have the same colors when I edit the photos, like I see with my eyes, like I see on the phone, and like I see on the monitor. And with these three things I have with this monitor. When I was starting, every time I send the photos from the PC to the mobile, I didn't have the same colors and it won't look the same. And once I upload the photos, the people will look in different colors and not like I edited the photos. And to me, it was really breaking, and I didn't want to do it this way, because I know what colors I want to achieve and how I want to share with the public. And once I started using the monitor from the BenQ, I saw a difference, because it is a professional photography monitor. It is made for photographers, and it is has the best color range, and it has a matte finish also. If you are taking editing photos where you have reflections, it has matte finish, so you don't see any reflection. It was also one big problem for me before when I was editing the photos, and now I don't even notice the things. I want to show you how you can, what I love about this monitor is you can switch very easily vertically and horizontally mode. Like you can go up and then like this. If you are taking photos and creating portraits, then you can only sit and you have a really big screen where you can see how you edit and you can see every detail. If you have a nice horizontally shot, then you can switch back, and then you have also horizontally oriented monitor. What I love about this, it is so easy to switch the modes. If you are editing, you can change the sRGB, RGB, and black and white mode very easily. You don't have to go inside the settings and finding the switching modes. You can create, you can change only with this hockey puck, and it is also really nice looking. You also have think how to carry the monitor. And I really love this monitor because, you see everything is very easy with them. And I think you just have to invest in really good camera and a really good photography monitor. So it is so important. Okay, so let's see. Now I want to talk about the colors and a scene. So why the connection is so important? First, sometimes beautiful colors won't make the best backdrops. So if you spot a really nice color backdrop and you want to create photos there, but sometimes something isn't working, This is only telling you that beautiful color won't make the beautiful story. You just have to think what else you should bring to the location. And later I will show you how I bring the bathtub, the whole bathtub on location, and how I created the full scene, because only having a sky and the sand wasn't enough for this scene. Being touched by colors, if you see a red flower, and maybe you will have next time you will take photos in front of the red backdrop, make sure to let the colors awake something in you, to awake your emotion. Connect the right elements. So if you're having a good backdrop, it is not only important to have a good backdrop, but connection is very important. How you want to place the model, what movement you want from them. If you're taking photos in the forest and you have a tree as a backdrop, make sure to bring the model. If you want to like show the scariness, make sure to place the model like she's running and like looking scary around her. If you want to make a scene where she's waiting for somebody, make sure to put her while she's sitting and holding the flowers, and made me looking sad, maybe looking like she's really waiting for somebody and not only sitting down and looking like this. So bring interior elements to the location. I will show you the video, and you don't need a whole location as a backdrop. I think this is where people most make mistake, where they want to create, where they're looking a really perfect location as a backdrop just to create photos. No, you don't need the whole location. You don't need the whole flower field. You don't have that big lens just to take photo of the whole location. So you only need one beautiful corner. It is maybe 1 meter long. It is maybe few centimeters long if you want to do a close-up photos. So it is for you just to remember that you don't need a whole location, but only one beautiful backdrop. Colors and a scene. So here in the photo in the center, I had this beautiful red clock, and I wanted to show like you are alone and you are in the woods and you are waiting for somebody. This is why I wanted, because you are alone for me is awakening imagination that somebody, it is sad, it is like the fog. I really wanted the fog effect for this scene, and this is where the cloak, and this is where the location as the backdrop is awakening here, because without the fog it doesn't look the same. So I waited for the fog for a couple of weeks just to have this emotion, and where I wanted to share the images. So sometimes if you don't have at the first place this backdrop, make sure to wait. Make sure to wait fog, make sure to wait snow, make sure to wait spring for the flowers. Make sure to wait, because in that case you will have the best results. Then here, colors in the scene. I having these beautiful yellow flowers, but I wasn't very satisfied with the flower look and the dress look, how it's going together. So I bring this smoke effect where I wanted to see like she's spreading around the flower. She's one beautiful flower who is going like the smoke around the flowers and through the flowers. So you can say a lot by using the smoke effect. And here on the third photo, you see very, very simple backdrop. You see only the grass. And this is why it is so nice to have color combination and how you want to awake the scene by using albino models, or if you want to use maybe among the dark backdrop to use a white or maybe some bright color, because in this way you will awake the backdrop even more and you will have this pop out effect and you will tell a lot. So make sure to think about combination and how you want to connect with the scene. Okay, before I want to ask you what is important to you, the last poll. So what is important to you when shooting outdoors? I would like to know. Okay. Let me. With which element do you connect with the backdrop? Do you connect with the model, colors, or emotions? So because scene is very important when taking photos, and how you want to express the backdrop. How do you want, when you're thinking about the scene, think in this way. You want to awake backdrop. It is not like the backdrop is holding still. You are awakening. You are bringing in the details. You are bringing the scene. You are bringing in the model. So you are changing the backdrop. So the model, colors, emotions. Oh, wow. I love the answers here, because emotions are so important when choosing the right backdrops and how do you want to tell a story. And the next one is the colors. Yay! I love emotions, and they are telling so much about when choosing the backdrop in the right way. So here we have examples. So sky for multiple stories. In the next slides, I will tell more about this. Some backdrop, but different story. Wait for the night, awaken the backdrop, change props, and use lenses with f-stop minimum 1.4. Yeah, this is example. So bathtub in nature, this is what I was talking about. So here we have sky for multiple stories. You see here sand and sky. So once you come to the location, you see, yeah, it is only one simple location, but how you will bring and what detail you will bring here, it tells a lot. So these locations and these backdrops are so important and so challenging. If you have only two elements, like the sky and the sand, like the sky and the grass, like the sky and the water, because at these backdrops, you can bring your own imagination and you can bring your own elements to the location, making more interesting backdrop. And this is why this is the most interesting way for me to take photos, because it is you can express your imagination here. You see in all three photos that we have the same location, but we have the different stories, and same backdrop, but different story. Here I place the flowers around the bathtub, and we have the bathtub full of flowers where she's reaching out the stars and the moon. In the next one, I separated the flowers. I changed a little bit the scene, but we have the same backdrop. And we have from the two sides the flowers, but the same prop. You can use the same prop, but in a different way. This is how you can use it. I added here the birds flying. I didn't have birds there. I added later in Photoshop, because sometimes I love to take photos on location when the birds are flying, if you have sky, if you have sun, if you have moon or the stars, and later on I place the elements in Photoshop. So make sure to always take photos if you are walking by, if you are driving by, make sure to take photos, because later on you can place them in your projects and in your photos. And wait for the night. This is the same location, but I was waiting for the night. I didn't go back home once I finished the story during the day. I wanted to wait the night, because during the night the whole concept will look different. You will still have the same location, but you have totally different concept, because the whole colors are changing, and it is not looking the same. I changed here the flowers in the bathtub. I put them inside and not around the model. I changed the dress here, the pose here, and I added the star and the moon, because she's reaching the moon here, and everything looks so differently than from the beginning. As you can see, the first photo and the third photo, everything is different. So I wanted, before this slide, I want to show you how we bring the bathtub to the location, and it wasn't easy. It was very hard, because the bathtub is very heavy, and you will see, but if you organize yourself, if you know how you will use it in what way, then it is okay. So now I will play the video with the bathtub. So I organized a few people just to bring the whole bathtub to the location. And it was very hot during the summer. It was 40 degrees, and it was, yeah, see, you have, and it was, we started decorating with the flowers, and I have the florist here, my friend working with the decoration and flowers, and she decorated the whole scene. And it takes around 1 hour just to finish the whole story. Then I was placing the model here. It was the first scene where I wanted to show that sometimes we are enough with our problems. We are only sipping more problems with ourselves in the bathtub, and sometimes we will go up to here. Okay, so this is may change the weather a little bit. So it is during the evening, and later in Photoshop, I put the more darker colors. Sometimes if you're taking photos in RAW, make sure to do this. If it's too bright and you want to look maybe darker, make sure to put the highlights down, the contrast down, and the brightness. Okay, so the next one I want to say about, let me see, let me go back to the presentation. Make sure to ask the questions if you have some about the backdrops, because we will answer them at the end of this webinar. So the playing card, this was very interesting because it was taken on the New Year's Eve on that day. So everything was the music everywhere, but I wanted to take the photos here. So awaken the backdrop. This means that if you have a moody and dark backdrop, make sure to awake them by placing the flowers. You can buy the flowers at the flower shop or during the market, and then you can place on the location and the backdrop, and it will give you the different effect. Then to change the props, if you use the same backdrop, make sure to change the props. She's not without the props and without the flowers. Now she's holding the card in her hands, and it is the same location but different effect and a different scene. So make sure to change the props, or maybe you can bring more than one prop. You can use maybe one bigger prop. So make sure to change it, because you will have the different setup and different effect. And change lenses. This is the most important thing, because if you use the wide angle shot, you can change the whole perspective, you can change the whole look and hold the backdrop look by only changing the lens with f-stop 1.4, 1.8 until the 2.0, because everything behind will be blurry, and it will give you more dreamy effect, and the model will pop out, and the backdrop look will look more like the spooky, more like the brighter and smoother. I don't know how to say, but everything will look more natural with this type of the lenses. So make sure to write at the ask panel what type of the lenses you have, because it is so important if you want to play with the colors, if you want to play with the backdrop, to have a lenses different range of the lenses. I want to now play the video with the playing card and on this location. You see, because that day was very cold and it was winter. So everything, you see at the location, we had the fog. I was very happy because the tree will, the whole backdrop will, the tree is popping out here because we have the fog. And here the light was amazing because, you know, with the fog and this morning light, it makes the whole backdrop the special. And I also use 135 millimeter for this shot, because when I have a beautiful light and not the wide backdrop, then I will use portrait lens for this one. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. Let's see. Playing card. Okay. So I want to say that not all backdrops are good. So sometimes you will pass by to some locations and then you will see, oh, this is so nice. I want to take photos of it. But then you come to the location and you see something isn't working. Yes, this happens a lot of time, because sometimes locations are very famous, very touristic ones, and very maybe on a good voice. And sometimes a good location won't look the same. I think it is the best just to test the backdrop, to go to the location, to maybe bring your friend there and take just to snap a few shots, and then to see if you're having this connection. If you don't have this connection, make sure to think how you can change it. Maybe you can change the props, maybe you can bring more props just to camouflage the whole backdrop, or you can play with the colors. So make sure to use your imagination that way. Explore. If you're not explorer, I think this is the right way just to start exploring around you, because this will lead you to the best concepts in your head, because this is how you will awake your imagination. This is how you will find, you can create in this, if you explore, you can create very nice projects in some easy locations. Like if you have a bush full of flowers and you have a really great concept, then you will create a really good concept. So you don't need famous attraction, maybe somewhere in Germany or USA or any other country. You can create a concept in front of your house if you have a good imagination and if you practice it. Use imagination. This is why, to me, it is very important to use your imagination, because the way you are using it, what works the best for one photographer is not working for other photographers. So make sure to think how you will use your imagination, and make sure to enjoy the whole process while you are taking the photos, because this is so important. If you're creating photos for only to create photos, then it is not a job. If you are enjoying the process, if you're enjoying buying the props, if you're enjoying visiting the locations, if you are enjoying connecting with the scenes, I think this is a really nice thing, because you will, in this case, you will create more and better projects, and this is how you grow as an artist. And now let's answer your questions if you have some. If you didn't ask a question, make sure to do it now, because it is so important to start. If you're a hobby photographer, make sure it is so important to start taking photos now. And if you have any questions, make sure to ask it. Okay, let's see you.
Before we get into the question portion, I wanted to say thank you to everyone. The webinar is not ended yet, of course, but we are going to get to the Q&A section now. In the bottom right, you can see that you can answer your questions. We have here a survey which we'd love for you to fill out. We also have here the discount code. I know some people don't always stay for the Q&A, so we just want to say, for those of you who are leaving right now, we want to say thank you so much for coming to the webinar. We really enjoyed having you here. Thank you to Jovana for the fantastic webinar as well. I think really seeing from all of the videos that Jovana shows just how much experience and how much incredible work that she's done in the past, and we're always so thrilled to have her here with us. So to all of you, you have the discount code here. We'll also be sending it in the follow-up email tomorrow. We also have upcoming webinars which you can check out with fantastic speakers just like Jovana that you're seeing here. And after that, I'll leave it to Jovana now for the Q&A.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Let me see your questions. Ada asks, I have seen in your stories that if the weather photography spot just doesn't work for the day, you try again. But let's say you need to shoot. So do you make the most of the situation? And also, do you think it's wrong to use extra elements in edit to fill the things you didn't manage to have? Yes, I think if the location and backdrop doesn't offer what you want to achieve, I think it is okay just to bring your own elements. And maybe you will create some photos around the location. Maybe you can add these elements. If you want to camouflage, if you want to hide some location spots, backdrop spots, make sure to maybe use some flowers, like it is how to say, it is going around the photo and it looks blurry, like it is something on the lens, but you hide it. I hope you can understand what I wanted to say. And just model to be in the focus, it is totally fine just to add your extra element. It is working for your concept and for your idea. Okay. On the slide, Marina asked, on the slide backdrop choices, second photo with castle, which lens you were using? I work good with lenses over 50 millimeters, but I'm very insecure about the wide photos, not to make people and objects very long if they're in the angles. I hope you know what I mean. Yeah, I know, but having a wide angle lenses are very good because you can take the whole location and it looks nice. And sometimes if you sit and take photos from down, it looks much more higher, the model look, and it will pop out. So if you create the model look very high, it will take the people will look at this photo for much longer, and it is attractive viewers' eyes. So don't be afraid to use the wide angle shots at the beginning. It will be maybe challenging for you, but try a couple of times with your friends or yourself, some self-portraits, and you will see how this will work for you. Can you tell us what lenses you use? I use for wide angle shots, the Sigma 35 millimeters, 1.4, then 135 millimeters, 85 millimeters, and 105 millimeters. I really love this one. It is so heavy, but it is great for portraits. And I love portrait lenses because if you are taking photos outside also, and with the beautiful backdrops, then it always looks the same and even more magical. And I love to use the f-stop from 1.4 up to 2.5. Let me see. Alex asks, how do you make the pictures which are shouted from the above? Yeah, this is also very interesting because taking photos from above, you can shoot with a drone. You can, I don't have a drone. I had one, but it was crashed, unfortunately. And near my house, I have a bridge. So I stand there and then take photos from above. How you can also take, you can use a very long ladder where you can climb and then take photos. And then you can climb on the tree, maybe on a car to take photos, or you can make your own tripod from the metal and then bring the camera or maybe hold the camera, how you can take photos. So it is so always interesting to create photos from above because it is such a different perspective and it is not the same angle and it gives a totally different effect and totally different story. Lucas asks, do you work with some agencies that help you staging the photo shoot? No, I really enjoy the whole process. This is what I was talking about. I really enjoy creating the scene, thinking about the scene, how I can do it. So I have people who is helping me to do it very quickly and to bring some props and to decorate the scene, but not stage. You were thinking the staging the photo shoot. I have an idea, and if I need the flower scene, then I will bring the florist just to arrange the whole photo shoot like I wanted in my head. Sometimes I do it myself if it's not too complex one, but if I need the bigger scene, the complex ones, then I will appoint some florist to do it for me. How did you research and find these backdrops? Sometimes I find it through Instagram on search bar. Sometimes I find it myself and I was going by car and see some spots. Sometimes the friends are telling me, yeah, you have this location here, this location there. So I think you should ask somebody. You should start. We now have internet and everything is there, and this is how you can find all locations. And in Google Maps, so also you can type locations and see in Google Earth how some locations looks like. This is also very interesting. Lucas asks, do you work on your own ideas or it is mostly commercial photo shoot? Half. Sometimes I create my own projects where I publish and sell them online, and sometimes the clients come to me and say, yeah, I want to create photos here, I want the concept like this. Sometimes I have a freedom to create my own concept, but sometimes you are limiting because you have to promote some other stuff when you do commercial work. So I think the right client will come to you if they know your style and if you know what you want to tell. And I think if you are maybe dreamy photographer, then the dreamy clients will approach to you. If you're a fashion photographer, then the fashion clients will approach you too. And everything is in a great connection. Alex asks, how many times you visit the place before a photo shoot? Sometimes 10 times, sometimes 5, sometimes once. So now I train myself just to recognize the good locations. But at the beginning, it was very hard because I have so many failures. I don't see this as a failure because I think this is a lesson. Where I come to the location and bring the model, I set everything down and then it doesn't look the same. I never publish the photos because I want to achieve the better results the next time. And I want, maybe I change the scene, maybe I want to bring the different model, maybe the concept wasn't working this location. So this is how you changing, and this is how you practice. Practicing is everything. And sometimes if you are afraid that you will spend a lot of money by creating some scene, make sure to bring your friend or maybe yourself just for a couple of times just to think that everything is set up for that type of the shoot. Okay, so Martina asked, which is your favorite outdoor backdrop so far? This is so, yeah, I think flowers. I love magic. I love dreaminess. And to me, flowers, I cannot wait. In 2 weeks, there will be lots of flowers here, and I am very excited about this, and my imagination is starting working again, and I'm so happy because flowers are my favorite, and I cannot wait to tell the stories. So, and also the castles. It is so because for somebody who loves fairy tales, the castles looks very nice in the photos. Marius asks, how do you find the perfect location for your projects? I won't say the perfect locations, but good for that concept you have in your head. So if you think about one concept, and this is how you are finding the backdrop. Sometimes I found the backdrop and then think about the concept. So if the location and the backdrop is strong enough, it will bring me to the concept. If I have concept, then it takes a lot of time just to find that location, because some of the concept look only on that location and none to some else location. Let me see. Alexandra asks, what type of lighting do you use when shooting outdoors? I'll use natural light, but if I taking photos outside, then I bring reflector. I have Allure Cube small reflector just for the portraits, and this is how I light up the scene just a bit, just to have these lights, during the evening, and I want to light the model, but I'm using the natural light the most of the time. Ada asks, I was wondering about the shots taken while the model is in front of the sun. Do you have the helpers to hold the reflector outside so that you have a better exposure for the whole scene? Sometimes this is a problem because I hate sun during the photos, not like when I walk by and drive by and live, but on the photo shoots, I don't like sun. Everything is oversaturated and it does look the same. If I have a really strong light, I wait for evening to maybe 4 p.m. just to come. If it's 12 o'clock, then I find the shadow. If I don't have shadow, I take photos, or I use some big reflector, or I take portraits if I'm not satisfied how the wide angle shots looks like. Because sometimes if you are creating photos for the clients, then you have to create photos on the sun, and you cannot wait if you have a big day to come. Martina asks, place you want to visit in future because it will provide you with awesome backdrop. Iceland. And this is on my wish list for so long, and I hope I will visit next year. I think when I visit Iceland, I think I will be done with shops and locations, because every photo will look nice there. And also the Baikal Lake in Russia, it's so special and it is so beautiful. We have so many beautiful locations, will look nice, and when you travel, you don't know which one to shoot first. So I'm seeing, do you have any other questions? If no, we will see. I think that's it. Yeah, we don't have any questions now.
Yeah, then I would like to say thank you once again to Jovana. I want to say thank you once again to everyone who came to the webinar. As said before, the discount code is right there, and we'll also be sending it in tomorrow's follow-up email. The code will be valid until the end of the month. And you can see in all of the links here, we'll leave the room open a little bit longer for all of you. You can check out the links for our designer monitors, our photographer monitors, for our upcoming webinars as well as the 1 year of Pantone Connect Premium that you can get for free. But yeah, I wanted to say thank you once again. It's always a pleasure to have Jovana with us in one of these webinars, and can really tell you how much work she puts into not just the presentations, but really into all of her shoots. And it's always such a pleasure to be hearing from her and to get from her experience and her craft as a photographer. So thank you once again, Jovana.
Thank you, Vicente, and thank you, BenQ, and thank you for everybody for joining this webinar. See you next time.
Great. Looking forward to seeing all of you very soon in an upcoming webinar then. With that, thank you very much and see you soon.
Bye.